The figure of Spartacus remains one of the most captivating and iconic leaders in history. His rebellion against the Roman Empire in 73–71 BCE, often referred to as the Gladiator Revolt, represents one of the largest and most significant slave uprisings in antiquity. The events of this revolt not only highlight the deep social and economic inequalities in Roman society but also demonstrate the tenacity, leadership, and strategic acumen of a man who was once a slave and a gladiator. Spartacus' rebellion, while ultimately unsuccessful, resonated for centuries and has inspired countless historical analyses, literature, and popular representations of resistance against oppression. Little is definitively known about Spartacus' early life, and much of what we know is based on sources that were written long after the events of his rebellion. He is believed to have been born in Thrace, modern-day Bulgaria, northern Greece, and parts of Turkey, around 111 BCE, although the exact year and place of birth are uncertain. Spartacus was likely born into a society that was under Roman influence, and he may have initially been a soldier in the Thracian army. The ancient sources, however, are inconsistent in their accounts, and some even suggest that Spartacus might have been a deserter from the Roman army. What is clear is that Spartacus was eventually captured and sold into slavery. After his capture, Spartacus was taken to Rome, where he was trained as a gladiator in the notorious school of Gladiatus in Capua, one of the major centers for gladiatorial combat in the Roman Empire. Gladiators were typically slaves or prisoners of war who were forced to fight to the death in arenas for the entertainment of the Roman populace. Spartacus was one of many who endured the brutal training and the risk of death in the arena, but rather than submitting to his fate, he would become the leader of one of the greatest slave uprisings in Roman history. The revolt began in 73 BCE when Spartacus, along with approximately 70 to 200 fellow gladiators, escaped from the gladiatorial school. They managed to break out of their bonds, seize weapons, and take refuge on Mount Vesuvius, an active volcano in southern Italy. The slaves were initially joined by other runaway slaves, and soon, their numbers swelled to several thousand. It is believed that Spartacus and his followers were motivated not only by the desire for freedom but also by the hope of securing a better life beyond the oppressive confines of their captivity. The rebels' first victory came in the form of a skirmish with a group of Roman soldiers sent to recapture them. The slaves were able to defeat the soldiers, and they plundered weapons, food, and supplies, which significantly increased their chances of survival. This victory sparked a chain reaction, as more slaves, peasants, and even some freemen began to join the revolt, swelling the ranks of the rebels. As Spartacus and his forces moved through Italy, their numbers grew exponentially. By the time the revolt had reached its peak, the size of the rebel army may have reached 100,000 or more, including former gladiators, runaway slaves, and even some disillusioned Roman soldiers. The rebellion posed a direct threat to the stability of the Roman state, and the Senate began to take the uprising seriously. In response, the Romans sent various commanders, including the experienced general Marcus Licinius Crassus, to suppress the revolt. The rebels, led by Spartacus, initially had considerable success. Their military tactics were highly effective, especially considering the relatively untrained nature of their army. Spartacus demonstrated an exceptional understanding of both conventional warfare and guerrilla tactics, using the terrain to his advantage and conducting swift, unpredictable strikes against Roman forces. His army was able to defeat several Roman legions, and the Romans had to send reinforcements from other parts of the empire.